Welcome to another video, guys. Today we're gonna talk about everything you need to know about Doom Tower, all the little tips and tricks you could be using, and basically everything there is to know so you guys can have a much easier time over there. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you find it helpful, a like and subscribe would really be appreciated for my new Raid Shadow Legends channel. I've been going at it for over 2 months now, and I've been doing my best to give you top quality guides, as well as free coaching during my live streams, so it would be awesome if you hit that subscribe button. Now let's get into it. Don't forget you can download the game from my download link to get your hands on the legendary champion Corrado as soon as you finish the tutorial, as well as the top tier Epic as soon as you hit level 15. Both of these champions are going to be amazing for your early game progression, and Ugo is usable right up until the end game as well. You will also have 24 hours to use one of the amazing promo codes for a legendary champion, and my personal favorite still would be Sun Wukong with the code Monkey King, but you can also go for the legendary Void champion Supreme Galek with the code Supreme6, and both of those are amazing options for your early game progression as well as well into the late game. You can check out my detailed video about which champion you might want to be choosing in your first 24 hours from the link up there. So, Doom Tower, you already probably know, is wave-based content. You have 9 normal floors, and then you have a boss level. And if you manage to kill the boss, you get to progress on the higher levels. And you only get 10 golden keys per day, which you could be using to unlock new, harder difficulty levels. And you also have 10 silver keys per day, which could go up to 15 if you get the advanced quest, which you can be using to farm up bosses. Something a lot of people might not actually have noticed is you could actually even start with the hard rotation first, and then move back to normal, and this is honestly the better choice for most players who have been in the game for a few months, because this leads me to the other tip. Secret rooms are actually not great for you to clear as soon as you unlock them. The reason behind that is, it costs you 1 silver key to finish a secret room, but it gives you as a reward 2 silver keys, so you're technically at a net positive from completing these secret rooms. And the neat little trick you could be doing here is actually unlock the hardest stage you could on Doom Tower first, or the hardest stage you want to be farming, in my case that would be Magma Dragon, and only then start finishing secret rooms. And what's that gonna give you is, it's gonna give you 26 extra silver keys you could be farming the hardest stage of Doom Tower you would like to be farming, and that is gonna give you much more resources of the forge materials. This is especially important when you have the Fey rotation, because the lethal set is by far the best thing you could be farming for, but it's also not too bad to be farming things like the Magma Dragon Fatal set, which is definitely not that bad for attack-based nukers, or you could also just be farming the hardest stage of the Frost Spider in this case, just so you can get extra materials, so you can use the mats for extra silver in the forge that way. Now, I will be unlocking all of my secret rooms, so I will see you in about 30 minutes, so don't go nowhere. Okay, and just like that, we cleared the whole rooms. My account is pretty stacked already, so it's not exactly hard for me anymore, but before that I was actually struggling with a lot of these, and actually on some rotation I still actually can't complete all of the secret rooms because some of their requirements are pretty absurd, but as you saw, it's definitely doable. I do believe this is the easiest rotation probably for most, because there's not that many rooms with rare champions. It was actually only secret room 1, I think. No, I guess secret room 2? Nope. Secret room 3, surely, god damn it. Secret room 5, nailed it. So yeah, if you're actually having issues with some of these rooms, what you could be doing is actually pace yourself during the waves, and this is a tip for basically all sorts of wave content. Basically, you turn off auto, and the moment you know you've actually cleared the wave, you basically try and slowball it. Like right now we are AoEing most of these, but now it's basically done. This guy's stunned, the other are pretty low, so at this point I can just use A1s, so I can actually try and wait for my other champs to get back some of their cooldowns. Like this Cold Heart is gonna be 1 turn closer to her A2 for instance. And yeah, rinse and repeat. You basically, as soon as you know you've done the content, you basically slowball it a little, so you can actually have a better positioning for your next wave. And this is gonna help you basically in all sorts of different content. Like, it is just a invaluable skill for you guys to have. Definitely do not speedrun as fast as you can. Once you have the wave under control, once you have some of the champs CC'd, their main damage dealers CC'd, their revivers, that kind of stuff, You basically slowball it. You don't need to be too quick. This way you're gonna have a much better positioning in the next wave. So you can have all of your important abilities at your disposal, so you can actually clear the wave much easier. Okay, this one's gonna die to poison, this one's gonna die to a fart, and there's that fart we were talking about, and we just A1 the rest of them, and we're gonna have a little bit more cooldowns on the last wave, and yeah, it's a very nice thing to be doing, to slowball yourself this way, so you can actually have much easier time against the harder waves. With the drop defense, these guys are no match for us, and yeah, there you have it. Didn't even lose a champion this time, pretty easy stuff. Another thing you could be using if you're having issues in some of the rooms and some of the floors is you could actually equip some of your champions in stun sets, in provoke sets, that kind of stuff. Like if you have some people that have a lot of AoE attacks, those will be your perfect candidates for some stun set action. And the neat part about sets like stun and provoke is they don't even need accuracy for those debuffs to land. So all you gotta do is put it on champions that actually have nice little AoE attacks, preferably on their A1, especially if they have multi-attacks on their A1, A2, that kind of stuff would be pretty amazing. For the waves themselves, you could actually design yourself a nice little team that's gonna do the job for you. Like, I have myself all sorts of different teams already preset. Yeah, what you want to be having on your team is preferably somebody who's gonna be debuffing. Well, I mean, it's obvious what you want to be having. Basically, it's gonna be just normal wave PvE type of content. In my case, I'm slapping Marius, obviously, because he's such an absolute animal. Lydia drops the defense and places the weaken, so that's absolutely amazing. And if you're having issues, you could include somebody like Armance, somebody like our newly acquired Fabian, that kind of stuff. I myself don't really find myself having issues with the waves anymore, but if I do, I just slap in another hard CC champion like that. But in my case, I'm just gonna include 3 big nukers and Lydia for the debuffs, and I'm also gonna slap in Nargigante Archer for those crowd controls, for those hexes, that kind of stuff. It's definitely gonna make my runs a lot smoother. And here you have it. You just go in, blast it on auto, but if you're having issues, like I said, you could just be doing it manually, like I showed you with the rare champs, so you can actually reset them and have most of their cooldowns ready at your disposal. Obviously, the champs I pick are absolutely stacked right now. These are one of my best champions on the account, so I use them in all sorts of different areas, like Hydra, Chimera, that kind of stuff, so they are going to be naturally a lot better. And this is gonna look a lot easier here for me than it might for you, but what I'm trying to say is my account is only less than 2 years old and I'm able to actually do this quite easily, so will you in time. And there you have it. Now we have 39 keys at our disposal, pretty good stuff. And now we get to farm up a lot more materials from the latest stage from the Doom Tower, which is a lot better for us. Also, the game right now is rudely reminding me that I have my Doom Tower mission finished, and this is also going to be one of the requirements for you to actually finish your Ramantu missions, and Ramantu is an absolute god of a champion as well, so you definitely would like to be getting that one. Speaking of which, we will actually have the option to actually collect this guy when we actually have a champion chase tournament or event or something like that, so this would be a nice little extra way for me to be getting all of this stuff. And I'll still actually collect all of these and finish the final boss here so that I actually have him ready for collecting. As I said, we have rotations on the Doom Tower, and right now I would say this one is the easiest, but also it's not the best rotation for us to be farming materials for artifacts, because Dark Fae is hands down by far the best thing you could be farming. You could go over down to Hell Hades and actually check what the rotations are. There are 3 rotations in total. Right now we're at the Frost Spider rotation, so this is what they are. But we also have the rotation with the Eternal Dragon as the hardest boss. And the best rotation would be rotation number 3 with Dark Fae. And Dark Fae is definitely not an easy boss for you guys to handle, but she's definitely not rocket science either, especially if you get your hands on some decent champions for her. Basically how Dark Fae works is she is a lot like an arena blender comp, like that's what you're gonna need. You're gonna need a speed lead that boosts your team, and then you're gonna want a hard CC all of the opponents so they can basically not do what you're going to be doing to them, because it's basically a mirror of your own team. So the better your team is, the better your opponents are going to be. So you're not going to want to be bringing some champions like, let's say, Sun Wukong, who's going to keep on reviving. You don't want to be bringing things like Tormund, so it's not freezing you up and that stuff. But instead, you just want to bring a good speed lead that's going to buff everybody to go first before the opponent. Then you hard CC, then you nuke them, and if you bring somebody who turn meter drops like a Cold Heart as a rare example, as like a nuke, that kind of stuff, you are also going to be able to actually control Dark Fae a lot easier, so she doesn't even take a turn and start summoning your copies and stuff like that. For the other bosses, Magma Dragon is definitely not too hard. You basically want to provoke there, and that's going to help you big time. With the Frost Spider, as long as you bring HP burn, you shouldn't have too much problem. Agraf could be a problematic boss. You might want to be watching a detailed guide about this one, because you don't want to be bringing AoE. You also actually don't want to be stripping the counterattacks from the spiders. You'd much rather just control them, like a stun and stuff like that, so they actually do not counterattack and heal the spider back. And also, actually, if you strip the buff from the spiderlings, the mother spider is going to be dealing even more damage, so that's also not a great idea in most cases. But there are pretty nice solo strategies with things like Staltis, with things like Drexstar, so it's definitely not the hardest boss out there if you know what you're doing, so definitely check out a detailed guide about this one if you know how to really tackle it easily. Borgoff is another example of an absolutely awful boss to be facing, but there are some pretty simple strategies out there, some of which include just equipping blood shields on your champions. Other strategies work pretty well with the rare champion Templar can actually solve a lot of Borgoff problems for you. Turagi is also amazing against this guy. Or if you really want to be tackling it the way the devs actually meant it to be tackled, you basically want to be bringing champions that have shields. Turn meter drops would be amazing, and even destroy max HP would be great, so you actually start dealing more damage. But honestly, I'd say that's the worst way for you to be doing it, because it's going to be a lot more gear intensive, champion intensive, and so on and so forth. It would be much better if you actually get your hands on a even campaign farmable Templar who is going to be solving you this guy, as well as Bommel for that matter. Like, even Bommel could get destroyed by Templar, so it's definitely not a bad idea for you to be checking out a guide. I think Hell Hades had a guide about that thing not too long ago. You basically bring a level 60 Templar with a good regen gear and immortal gear, and that should be solving both Bommel and Borgoff for a lot of the levels. Aragov has his own strategy, Griffin has its own strategy, but both of them are pretty simple in most cases, so you shouldn't have too much issues. And like we said, with Faye, you basically tackle it as you would an arena team. The rewards from Doom Tower are also pretty nice. You are going to be getting some pretty nice epics as champions out of the normal Doom Tower, and you're also going to get your hands on some pretty nice legendaries from the hard Doom Tower as well. I think Varl is one of the best champions you could be getting out of it. He is definitely pretty amazing. As you see, 4-star rating, but it is definitely going to be quite the slow burner for you until you actually manage to get your hands on this one. If you're in your first few months, it is... I literally just got him, as you saw, and I am over a year and a half into the game, so there's that. But yeah, the cool thing about farming these fragments for champions is you could actually decide when you want to be collecting those champions. Because they're going to be sitting in your fragment summon section. As you see, Varl is here nice and patient. My epic fragments are here. And as soon as we have a champion chase tournament, event, that kind of stuff, I will be actually cracking some of these if I need to. I definitely would like to crack Varl sooner rather than later, because he is actually a pretty good champion and I might actually find some good use for him. The other rewards you will be getting out of Doom Tower would be the fragments for Forge. And with the risk of repeating myself, Lethal Set is by far hands down the best thing you could be farming. So every time you have a Dark Fae rotation, best thing you could be doing is try and unlock the hardest stage of Fae you will be able to farm that month, and save all of your secret room keys until you actually are at the level where you will be able to farm as much Dark Fae as you possibly could. And it's really worth it. It's really worth it because the Lethal Set is absolutely brutal. Lethal Set is actually an endgame set. Like, it is almost comparable to Merciless. Obviously, it's not. Merciless is going to be so much better if you manage to get yourself 9 pieces or 6 pieces for that matter. But Lethal Set is a close second as one of your best options for most of your nukers, like getting yourself 10% crit rate, as well as 25% ignore enemy defense is absolutely broken. The Savage set is the obvious downgrade of this set, where you only get the 25% enemy defense drop, and that is also a super usable set even in the late game still, but getting that extra 10% crit rate is absolutely huge, because crit rate is not exactly very easy to come by if you want to be building your champions the right way with crit damage gloves and so on and so forth. And while we're on the matter of lethal set, this would be the set you want to be using your rank up charms, your rarity charms, your mythical charms, and heck, you might even include gauntlet charms plus crit rate charms, so you actually get yourself the biggest odds of getting gloves with a crit rate substat and the possibility of a crit damage main stat. That would be the best glove you could be getting out of a lethal set, hands down. But even without a glove, it's still not a bad idea to be putting crit rate on the lethal set, or heck, even speed instead. So yeah, definitely respect the lethal set. It is not to be ignored. Some of the other sets are also not horrible. Like I said, from this rotation, I'm actually farming the fatal set, but it's just 15% attack with 5% crit rate. Definitely nothing to really write home about. It's basically a somewhat upgraded offense set, which obviously is super mediocre at this point in the game, like so much better sets out there. But as a 2-piece set, you definitely wouldn't be too sad getting yourself a good 6-star legendary with some amazing rolls. It is definitely one of the more usable sets. So there's that too. Technically, Frostbite can also be usable on some support champions. It's also a 2-piece, so you could be annoying. Slapping a couple of 2-pieces on a support champion could actually freeze the opponents and whatnot. That'd be pretty annoying for them. The Bloodthirst set nowadays is pretty whatever. It's basically a lifesteal set with extra crit rate. Not the worst thing in the world, but nowadays you don't really use lifesteal set on right about anything at this point, unless you have like some solo strategies and stuff like that, but usually solo strategies go with regen set instead. Guardian set is also not too bad. You could actually use it on some niche champions if you want to be helping your team survive longer, but nowadays it's really not that big a deal. Fortitude is pretty whatever. There's definitely a lot better sets you could be using for resistance and defense. We also have things like Affinity Breaker, which could be usable on some solo strategies. Let's say you could equip Ninja in Affinity Breaker, so you could be farming Sand Devil a lot easier, but that's not really something I would be doing for my liking. Not the most amazing thing, but it's definitely somewhat usable. And also Untouchable, pretty whatever nowadays, I'd say. I'm saying all of this from the perspective of my account and my progression. For a newer player, all of these sets would actually be pretty worth it. They would be much better than some of the sets you could be using on your champions early stage, but after 6 months in the game, after 1 year for sure, Lethal set is the only really amazing set, and Frostbite is somewhat usable. Like I said, you could be using it to be annoying on some of your supports, but it's definitely not the most amazing thing you could be slapping on most. And also, let's not forget, you also have amazing rewards as first time clearing on all of these floors and whatnot. Here's a nice little spreadsheet Hell Hades has whipped up for us, so we can actually see all of the good things you could be getting, and there are, I think, a couple of sacred shards for you if you manage to clear everything on hard. You get a bunch of voids if you clear everything on normal, and plenty of books, plenty of chickens, plenty of good stuff. Definitely very worth it for you guys to tackle Doom Tower as fast as you could. So yeah, do let me know in the comments if I missed anything. Do let me know if you need help with some specific pieces of content from Doom Tower or anywhere else, and I will do my best to actually try and help. So yeah, don't forget you can download the game from my download link if you want to start Raid the right way, and if you want to actually enter for a chance for $20 giveaway for something from the shop, as well as 1 hour account takeover with me, you can check out my video on how to build champions and enter the giveaway. And also drop by my live streams. I try to always stream on Tuesday and Thursday, and I'm doing my best to help out the community as much as I can with free account takeovers, so if you have any trouble gearing a champion, clearing a hard level, that kind of stuff, I might be able to help for free. Thanks for watching. I'm Crystal5, and I'll see you in my next video or stream.